Imagine being born into a world where you immediately owe something. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you made a mistake, but simply because you exist. Before you learn how to walk, before you learn how to speak, before you even understand what a dollar is, a system already exists around you. A system where food has a price, water has a price, a home has a price, medicine has a price. Even the piece of land you stand on belongs to someone. And one day you are expected to enter that system. You are expected to learn a skill, trade your time, earn money, and use that money to continue living. But have you ever stopped and thought, who decided this? Who was the first person to look at a piece of land, point at it, and say, "This is mine"? And why did everyone else agree? It sounds ridiculous at first. After all, the Earth existed for billions of years before humans arrived. The oceans did not ask for a payment. The trees did not demand a receipt before giving us oxygen. The sun has never sent humanity a bill. So why do we? The answer is more complicated than it appears. Because when we look back at our ancestors, we find something surprising. They didn't pay rent, they didn't have mortgages, they didn't have credit scores, they didn't have taxes. But don't mistake that for freedom. Because they were still paying. Every single day they paid with their bodies, with their energy, with their fear. Imagine waking up 50,000 years ago. You don't have a refrigerator full of food waiting for you. You don't have a grocery store a few minutes away. You don't have a police department to call if someone attacks your family. There is no hospital. There is no electricity, no air conditioning during a brutal summer, no heater during a freezing winter. There is only you, your tribe, and the unforgiving world around you. If you fail to hunt, you starve. If your shelter breaks, you suffer. If a predator finds you before you find it, your story ends. Nature was the first bill collector, and its payment was not money. Its payment was survival. So perhaps the question was never whether humans have to pay to exist. Perhaps every living thing has always paid a price. The question is, why did our currency change? How did humanity go from hunting animals and gathering fruit to spending 8 hours a day staring at a computer screen? How did we go from fighting lions to fighting deadlines? To understand that, we have to look at the invention that changed humanity forever. Money. For hundreds of thousands of years, human beings lived a simple life. Wake up, find food, find water, protect your family, survive until tomorrow. Then something happened that changed our species forever. A human being planted a seed, and instead of moving on, they stayed. That simple decision created the first farms. The first farms created villages. Villages became cities. And cities became civilizations. For the first time in history, humans were able to create more than they immediately needed. A farmer could grow enough food to feed hundreds of people. A builder could spend his entire life constructing homes. A blacksmith could focus only on making tools and weapons. Humanity discovered specialization. And that discovery changed everything. You no longer needed to know how to do every single thing required to survive. You could become excellent at one thing and rely on thousands of other people to do the rest. Think about your life right now. Could you build your own house from nothing? Could you create your own phone? Could you produce your own electricity? Could you make your own medicine? Most people could not. And that is not a weakness. It is proof of how deeply connected humanity has become. The phone in your pocket may contain materials mined in one country, designed in another, assembled in another, and shipped across an ocean by people you will never meet. Also, you can hold a device capable of accessing nearly all human knowledge. But this incredible system had a problem. How do you trade fairly? Imagine you are a farmer with 100 bags of grain. You need a new roof, but the person who builds roofs already has enough food. Now what? Do you force him to accept something he doesn't need? This was the weakness of barter. Both people needed to want what the other person had at the same time. As societies grew, this became impossible. Humanity needed something everyone could agree had value. Something small. Something easy to carry. something that represented labor and resources. That invention was money. At first it was shells, then pieces of metal, then coins, then paper. And today, it is mostly numbers that exist on a screen. Think about that for a second. A person can spend 40 years of their life working, thousands of mornings waking up, thousands of hours away from their family, millions of moments that they can never get back, and all of it is represented by numbers inside a digital account. Time converted into money. Maybe that is why people say time is the most valuable thing you have. Because unlike money, you can always earn more. But every second you spend is a second that disappears forever. And this is where the question becomes much deeper. Are we truly paying money to live, or are we exchanging pieces of our limited time for the ability to survive? Because every person on Earth is doing this. The billionaire, the millionaire, the person working a minimum wage job, the farmer, the teacher, the doctor, the artist, the parent. Every human being wakes up each day and decides what they are willing to trade their time for. And perhaps that is the greatest transaction humanity ever created. At this point, you might still be wondering, why does a human being have the ability to own something that was here before humanity itself? How can a person own a piece of Earth that existed for billions of years before our species ever walked on it? It is a question that has been debated for thousands of years. Some people believe ownership is necessary. Imagine if nobody owned anything. No homes, no farms, no businesses, no responsibility. Would people spend years building something that anyone could take tomorrow? Would someone plant a tree knowing that another person could simply come and claim the fruit? Supporters of ownership argue that ownership creates responsibility. It gives people a reason to protect, improve, and invest in the world around them. But others ask a different question. If someone is born with no land, no resources, no money, how can they truly choose whether they participate in the system? A person can choose many things in life. They can choose their career. They can choose what skills they learn. They can choose who they become. But nobody chooses the starting point they were born into. Some people enter the world with opportunities waiting for them. Others enter the world already fighting to survive. And that has created one of humanity's oldest arguments. Is the system a ladder that allows anyone to climb? Or is it a game where some players start closer to the finish line? The truth is, the answer depends on who you ask. A person who escaped poverty through hard work may say the system gave them an opportunity. A person who worked their entire life and still struggled may see the same system as a prison. Both experiences can exist at the same time. And maybe that is what makes the question so complicated. Now imagine something even stranger. Imagine waking up tomorrow and money no longer exists. Your bank account says zero. Cash has no value. Credit cards are meaningless. At first, many people would celebrate. No more debt, no more bills, and no more rent. Freedom. But then another question appears. Who grows the food? Who collects the trash? Who keeps the electricity running? Who creates medicine? Who drives the trucks carrying supplies across the country? The world does not run because paper has value. The world runs because human beings wake up every day and provide something to each other. Money is simply the language we created to organize that exchange. It is one of humanity's greatest inventions. It allowed billions of strangers to cooperate. It built cities. It funded science. It helped us travel beyond our own planet. But it also created greed, inequality, corruption, and a world where many people spend the majority of their lives chasing something they can never hold on to forever. Because at the end of every human life, the richest person and the poorest person leave with the exact same amount of money. Nothing. So maybe the biggest question was never. Why do we pay to exist? Maybe the real question is, what are we willing to spend our existence on? Our time, our energy, our attention, our love. Because every single day, whether we realize it or not, we are all spending something. And once that time is gone, no amount of money on earth can buy it back. So choose carefully what you spend your life on.